Okay, yeah, so version 12 got this up sooner than I thought. It was just a week from the last one, and quite a lot of updates like this. I put this cool shader here on the first screen, which is it's like a shader graph and like a script in a shader graph. Just show it quickly here. It's the menu background. Oh, it's actually open there. So what it does is I'm doing a bunch of stuff with the UV here to make it kind of what this would do, like with just a simple, if I just throw UV at it, it's kind of, I just copied this from this shader toy and kind of converted the code. It's in this, now in this file, this menu file. So it's this guy, yeah. So what can be done kind of much easier to something simple like that instead of doing the noodle soup. So like just get rid of that too. So it's simply that function. So what happens there is a bunch of it's a loop, and it gets the fragment color then based on the input. So it's basically just a function of input output stuff. So this is like way better way of doing something like this than going crazy with the nodes. And so yeah, that's the first. And then I kind of updated these mission buttons so it looks now I guess so. So they are here now, and they're kind of lighter, and all these buttons are now round and big. So it's kind of really, because it's for the touch screen, and now kind of the optimal way of using it would be now your left thumb. So like, because that's what you use for kind of the driving here. The control rect will be here. So I figured the buttons would be kind of best laid out in this way that like whatever you do the most would be right here. So hitting the race and hitting the start, and kind of the next options are right next to that. And yeah, so that much for the UI updates. And what you can now do is actually kind of level up. Oh yeah, now the shader is pretty cool like this as well. But what I can do now is go into the menu PG and activate this kind of scaled UV. So what I do is I just kind of scale the UV, and then I kind of, on the top part I'll do something else, and so it has like more variation, and it's not like just boringly the same. I'm just gonna save it, and so here are the missions now. And from these missions now you actually get like a vehicle now. So when I also kind of finished this one up, so you can, it's still a bit hard to see here, maybe a bigger font here or something a little bit, but it's kind of starting to look the way it will kind of want to look, and you can now, when you change the background, you can kind of see the immediate change there of scenery. And that pushing out, like the LA really fits it the best, I think. Like, it's not a bad look with the Sydney or the Egypt. It's pretty wild with the pyramids, but I decided to keep it. That's kind of that really Unreal Engine look. These are all those kind of AI generated images. I used some free AI image generator, the playground, for these. And just come up with what I'm gonna do here. And now the vehicle selection here has like, the guys will be locked, so you can kind of, you can kind of preview what it would look like, but you cannot start until you have kind of unlocked that vehicle. And at the start you only get the bike, so you kind of have to live with the bike until you get something done. And the easiest one is to just play your creator course. I'll just go through these like missions one by one now. And what I have here now is I can just cheat. What I also added was the tubes, so now the tubes are available in the editor. Kind of could show that in the editor later. There's a couple of changes for the editor too, and kind of these tubes now making these track kind of final. And I think they're not gonna need too much more changes before an actual release. And maybe go a little further with the, so these are all kind of all updated. A little further with the camera, so you can kind of preview this kind of live now and go all the way to the bike, or like further here. Ideally it's of course as far as possible. And then the resume is also now here, like annoying that left thumb. So, and the option here in the settings is then to controller right, which then would move it to the other. If you want to do it with your right thumb, so yeah, need to get those like sprites back here. They were kind of working. Whenever you lose track of which way you're going, it's good to have those arrows here and there. And what I figured was like that I was using an atlas for them, but it's better to use them as with a material block, a property block, so that like each one of the pieces will have its own texture. It's way better than sampling a big text atlas texture. And yeah, so that's for the updates there. Oh yeah, I'll actually show you now finishing the we were doing the mission here, and what I can do now here is just cheat and say give up, which will kind of end the race and get me this mission accomplished, and then I have unlocked the dirt bug. So that would be the easiest. All I have to do is play one public course. The idea is to kind of push the public features now here. So the best award, obviously it would be better for all these missions to have the price here that you're gonna get this car. After accomplishing that mission, anyway, now when I would go to new, now I have the option to also start with the dirt bug. And go back in the game. Show these tutorials real fast. The kind of idea is now to push the editor and get like people involved in that with using the editor and pushing stuff into the user generated content, because this is now built all this publishing system here is now kind of all built on the user generated system. Talk about it while doing these. Like I can just now, okay, the corners, the idea is to just you can see it there. I have to do something here, so I need 5 pieces and I need 90 turns. So it's like 90 turn is you draw it like this. Redo doesn't work for some reason. And if I draw this, I have now fulfilled that. And like I can then the 135 is like this way. So that's like 135. If you think about it, 180 is a straight piece, and then 90 is this way, and then that last thing is 135 degrees. And then for the drops, the idea is to be looking at this on the 3D view, and what you can go now do is the select mode. And what has been updated here is that the selection can be kind of grown or shrunk this way, which makes it a lot easier to make these changes. And what this is asking for, it wants like now 2 places where I'm dropping down. So if I'm starting from here, and then I'm gonna lift, it's gonna kind of bend the track at this dark green spot, and then I'm gonna add it 4. So now I get this drop of 4, which what it wants here. It wants a drop height of 4. Now it's like 3. Raise it up 1 more, and now it has a drop height of 4. And now I can just simply shrink this selection again. So now it's like a smaller part of it selected. And if I now raise again, I'll get that second drop, because it's like asking for 2 drops. And now if you look at the track, it has a drop and then another drop of 4, which was the thing you wanted, and then it's done. Same thing now with the elevators. Have to remember here to go back in the track mode, draw just the 5 pieces it wants, then select again. And now to create an elevator, what we're looking for here is just to go up by more than 1, and the elevator can be put out all the way to the 10th floor like that. And looking for jumps, remember to go back into track mode to draw the 5 pieces, and then to get a jump here you need a spot where there's like 3 in a row which are straight, and you can then just delete one, and you'll get your jump. For that gap, before that gap it will create the jump automatically. And then for overlaps, the idea is to the whole kind of idea of this track editor is that you can grow that a bit. I can go now like on a higher level like this, and then I'll simply, I can view it from the top view now to see that there's some overlap this guy is going on a higher level at the same spot, and then I can just go kind of run back like that to get another overlap. And so then there are like two pieces that are overlapping stuff at bottom layers, and the whole idea of this game is to kind of so that you can go all the way to the top floor and have these overlaps, and you can see the other racers below there, and it kind of looks kind of cool when you're looking at them from a higher floor. Okay, so just complete this. And the last one is the objects. There's a bunch of objects that can be added then to pieces of track. Like the corner only obviously goes on a corner piece. You can't put a corner on a straight piece. Then you have the spinner, a hump, which actually affects the track in that way. The mill is probably gonna get lost, and then the last is the wrecking ball, where is this funny kind of little device flying in the air with a wrecking ball attached, and it will kick you pretty wildly to the side if you hit it. And what we need one more is the guillotine. I'll just override that one. And so you'll need just timing to go through this. So that's for the tutorials, and now that was the last kind of part of the tutorial series. So now I will unlock the Mud Crush, which is kind of the third vehicle there. And now I have done all these kind of simpler, both of those simpler missions. And now I have the option of the Mud Crush to create with the Mud Crush. And show the this one next. There's, and I'll just restart. Something got stuck there. I haven't seen that on the build on the mobile. Maybe just something on the editor. But the idea, same thing obviously on the device, just restart the game if something gets weird. And so the idea here is that this is the kind of validation. It's better visible here, and the idea is to you just have to create to validate before you can publish anything into a system where obviously others can play these tracks. So they can't be just any goofy kind of crazy mazes or just full of objects and stuff, but they had to have some kind of limits. And so a number of overlaps is needed, and a number of jumps is needed, and so on. So what can be done here is the track can be appended either end, from the start or the end, and any double click will take you to the floor, kind of, so that you know where you need to go. So I'll need a jump. I'll just make a long, not really thinking about this track too much. I just want to fill it fast. Then you want those drops, and so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna call this selection. I'm already on the 4th floor, so I can just kind of drop from there. I needed that drop of 2, then I'll need a step of 1 kind of up. So I'll just shrink and then I'll go back up, and then I'll need a couple of humps and a guillotine. So what I'll do is I'll put the guillotine right about there, and then a couple of humps like, oh yeah, that's the problem, I don't have the kind of diagonal hump. That's just a problem with the objects. Actually, the kind of Blender file is just missing that collection from the export. I have to add that. And so now I accomplished that mission with the like validation of a track. So now that was the first public, and now I have unlocked the first kind of car, which is the Il Sportio, which is like a combination of a bunch of sports cars. And it's kind of as fast as they go, and like with this one you can really start playing the game in a way that you can break all the records and stuff. And now I'll just go to race, and now these tracks are now stuff that I have published from here. Now the publishing system here, it shows the kind of key there in the user content, user created content stuff, and that's the key there in that user content system. And each user now has 10 slots to write stuff in there, and so you can choose to either overwrite or use an empty slot up to 10 slots. And then when you publish, it takes a while for it to go there, and after that it generates the leaderboard for that track. So then you can find it here in the public. So on this first page I can see all the kind of latest which have been modified later, like kind of in the order of like edited last, and I can see that they are, the creator ID is the same as the creator ID of like this computer now, and which is the main creator. So these are the kind of built-in courses, and then there's other courses here. If I go to the next page, there'll be more that are generated by this key, which is the mobile I've been testing on. So I can kind of now, with this clone version, I can just work on either this device or the mobile device, and I can just kind of clone the version from the device to the other device through this publishing. So these are all published to the public system, and I can just clone it to wherever I want to kind of continue editing it, and then I can publish it back, and then I can kind of do the same cloning in the other device, and I can just now actually kind of just click race here to play that track. And the idea would be, obviously, after each play of these tracks, you would then review and give that review, and those reviews would then get, obviously they get automatically done there in the cloud. Then the idea would be just like 1 to 5 stars after each run. Pretty simple interface. Just after you have played the track, you can then just rate it, and so that rating would stay there until you can obviously change your mind after each run on that same track, if it happens that you play the same track ever again. And so yeah, looking pretty good now here for version 12. I kind of got this out fast, and everything is looking great for the like game. Like almost great for the editor. Editor is nearly finished, and the game is, I could say, is like you can play the whole kind of single player game now, all the way to which would be the kind of finishing stuff, which is the last one here, which then unlocks the street racer vehicle, which is like a Formula 1. And what I can do now here is I can cheat a bit by showing the debug panel. I can go into the race, and in this test mode anyone obviously can go into the race, and the idea is now to just win in B1, and I can just jump to B1 with these buttons, and then I can just jump to the last race, and I can start. And now if I do the give up kind of move from first place, I'll just need to get like a lead first. Seems like I'm in first place now, and if I now just go give up, and yeah, I got in first place, so I will win the series, which the season, which makes me the champion here now. And then mission accomplished, and I have unlocked the street racer. It doesn't take too long to play, like I'd say maybe 30 minutes if you win all the races. Shouldn't be too hard to get one of these world championships. And after that you can see that kind of cool little trophy there, and I kind of gather up here. Haven't done anything, maybe get a multiplier kind of text on it. If you get more than you can fit here. Panel. And yeah, so that's for all the missions. Now they're accomplished, and now they're gone from there, and now I have a lot more options. If I would now want to create like a new alias name for like chick from like LA woman here. More LA skin. So like whatever kind of style. Go with the weight, less or more weight and stuff. I really put more work on this. More hairstyles. These hairstyles could also be like a thing that you win. That's a pretty LA woman, isn't it? Maybe the hair could be also pink. I don't know. Green. Whatever. And maybe she's a Rasta. Like some shades on her. So now the options are now I could choose any of these, and the idea is then with the other ones is I haven't implemented yet. But as you publish more than one, you would then get this. This would be like publishing 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. And this I thought you'd have to win like 3 maybe for the last one. Maybe if you win 3 world championships or something like that. Anyway, you can now unlock only these, and it's for the test version. And now so I can just create, now I have this alias created here, like this cool LA chick in the LA scene. now erase width, and here I can see all the different devices I played this. They automatically always report that score. If you make a better score, it will cache it to your device, and whenever your device is online, it will then publish those changes in the score. So you can even, the good thing I've noticed here for testing, because I had like a really slow, some kind of background app going on, and I had to turn it kind of to an offline mode. So what can be done is, you can see here now that I'm online and it's green. I can kind of test this stuff by just unplugging, and the same thing happens in the phone if you're not connected to mobile data or Wi-Fi. It just shows red here, but what's good is all this public stuff. The last page you're on are in the cache. So now I have these kind of in the cache, and I can still play these public tracks like I was online, and I can do a record on it. If I play better, I'll get the record on it, and if I can then change my review. Obviously changing the review is, so both the records and the reviews are kind of cached in the device until you go online, and then when you go online it always updates all that data for those 10 courses like that are cached. So there's a cache now for, and that's in the settings. It could be set. So if you think about, you want to play this on a trip on an airplane or something, and so you can get a bunch of public courses in your cache, and then you can be online for like multiple hours and kind of still have stuff to play, which is kind of in a way public and kind of online, because you're playing other people's courses, and then you're reviewing them and you're making records on them, and then when you go back online you can then publish those changes, and which is very good with users, kind of getting that user generated content happening here. And then obviously the next step here would be to add a real PvP stuff, where there's a game mode where you go like PvP, and then you're not playing against bots, but you're playing against, if you have a fast enough connection for it, and then you'd have a couple of different game modes for, like, you could play your own tracks, for example, since everyone had to make one track to get in, kind of get to the public mode. Everyone needs to have at least one course published. So you can have a game mode where like up to like 2 to 8 players could play like everyone's course at a turn, and then the final. So it would take like something like 10 to 15 minutes to go through all the tracks, and then who gets the best overall score or something then wins something again. Like obviously the game modes could be somehow also user generated. So kind of thinking, making this as much kind of modelable in every single damn way. Like maybe what it needs now is some more objects and stuff. It's all procedural, and like generating the buildings here can be shown. Like if I start to play this now, all this is like procedural that happens here in the scene. Go here, and if I just pause it now there, and if if I look at this in the scene, so it kind of automatically generates a bunch of these buildings around the track. And what I was thinking is they're now all random, and it could be like each of these buildings actually spawns with a seed based on the location, and then you can have some kind of hidden buildings, and they only happen on certain kind of circumstances where you have a certain amount of room free and it's at a certain floor, etc. So you could have a game inside the game with these buildings, and so you can try and find a build whenever you kind of editing your track. You can then kind of look for the buildings. Anyway, now they're all random, and it could be seeded because like it feels a bit weird that when you make play the track, it's always a different building. So you're playing the same track, but like it's a random building there. They're in the same spots, but it's a random building. So that's why like the seed could come from the location. So it's always the same at that spot. And so that those few things could be still improved with this. Anyway, really happy now with version 12, and it's up there now on Google Play, and now really try to get some testers for this and make another video on that, like getting some testers. I need like 20 testers now to get this onto the next level of publishing kind of at Google Play. So it's like a closed test now, so I can move to like a real open test, and it just need 20 testers, and really need to somehow focus on getting those testers in. And so that's for this one.